So, dear listeners, here we are thrilled to welcome Dale Irvin, the professional summarizer, Hall of Fame, the one and only professional summarizer from America and from the world, I assume. We are here in France. I'm Christine Morlet, just like Chevrolet. I'm a professional speaker and speech coach. And today we are really, I welcome Dale Irvin. Dale, welcome to our show.
Well, thank you very much, Christine. I probably should explain to your listeners and viewers exactly what a professional summarizer is,
Right.
because it's not something that you can look up on Google and come up with anything. What I do is I attend meetings, primarily conventions or business meetings around the world. I listen to all of their speakers, I attend all of their events, and then periodically throughout the day, I give them a summary, a recap, an update of what they had just learned in the form of a comedy monologue that I've just written. So
Yeah.
they get to laugh at what they just learned.
Yes, and there's a very specific thing that I remember from the United States, from the NSA's. Whoo, like this.
Yeah.
With the
Somehow that
napkins.
started, and people wave their handkerchiefs and napkins around when I'm introduced, and it's
That's
very, very
right. And you were
nice.
in the
Very
middle
nice.
of the ballroom, in the middle, and you have the light on you, and here we go, and woohoo.
It was very, very, very flattering to see that.
Yes, I enjoy this so much, and I miss you so much, Dale. I mean, it's been such a while since we haven't been able to go to conventions, and I think it's going to be a while since we are going to be able from Europe to be able to attend the conference. And the NSA has gone private now, and that's another story.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And talking about a change, I don't know when it's going to change. I don't know when, in the United States, we're starting to open up after the pandemic. But from everything that I read, is that Europe is still pretty tight down. The UK is
Well,
very
we are
locked
still
down.
UK is awful. We need to go back home before 11 p.m. That's quite all right.
Okay.
And some of the shops are open. Cinemas are open. You are able to go to sit at restaurants, but outside. You can't sit
Right,
inside.
right.
When you step in a shop, you need the mask.
Yes.
So, well, it's approximately the same everywhere, right?
What
And
about what about vaccines? Do you have access to getting the
yeah,
vaccine?
I got the vaccine. I got the Pfizer vaccine, and I didn't have for for luck. I didn't have any side effects.
Yeah,
Not
me either.
like Terry Brock. Terry Brock told me that he had a lot of side effects. He had fever. He was really bad. Felt really bad. Some people have. Have you been vaccinated?
I have, and it was a funny story. I got the first one, and then I went back for the second one, and the woman asked me. She said, "Any side effects?" I said, "No." At first shot didn't even hurt, and she gave me the second shot. I said, "Ouch, that hurt a little bit." She goes, "That's because this one's got the tracker in it."
Yeah, well,
I thought
nobody
if
will
she just
ever
made
know if
that,
there's a tracker or not. I mean,
yeah, people say,
uh,
I don't want to get the shot because then they'll know where I am at any time. Yeah, on your cell phone. You already have a tracker in your pocket.
you do. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is a tracker already. Yes, that's right.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, who cares about having a tracker inside the body? I mean, it's just like,
I think it's great. If I wake up in the morning, I forget where I am, I can call Bill Gates and he can tell me.
yeah, you can say Bill Gates. Yeah. Yeah, and you can also ask your president. He will, for sure, he will know.
Yeah, he doesn't even know his name.
Do you think so?
Oh,
This is
oh,
so funny.
the man is rapidly drifting down the
So,
river.
what do you know about France and the French frog? You know that we are named the French frogs, right? I always
Well, that
when I introduce.
you enjoy eating frog legs is what I've always understood.
Yeah, that's for sure. A lot of people introduce us as French frogs, and or French people eating French fries.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah. And I think you invented the French kiss. I'm not really sure about that, but you know.
Yeah.
And the French,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
and
And
the French and
I love this, you know, at our airport in Nice, you have the kiss and go, or kiss and something, you know.
oh yeah, kiss and ride type of thing. Yeah, 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 yeah. You drop them off, you kiss them, and you hit the road.
That's right. That's quite funny, actually. Have you been to France?
I have never been to France. I've been all around Europe, but unfortunately, I've never made it to France. I'm eager to come. I've been reading a lot of Ernest Hemingway, and of course he loved France and wrote about it a lot. So yeah, but I've never made
Well,
it there.
you are really invited. I mean, as soon as you guys will be able to travel and come to France, you were invited. I have a big house and I have a guest room. So, you know, a
Fantastic.
lot of my friends from NSA have visited me. I had Laura Stack with John Stack. I had Frank Furness who visited me, you know, and well, Orville Ray Wilson wanted to visit me, but it was never possible. We visited him twice
Hmm.
in over Boulder at very high mountains, Colorado.
Right, right. When I come, can I bring my whole family? That would be my wife, my daughter, her husband,
Oh,
her
that's gonna be a
my
little bit. I
2-year-old
mean,
granddaughter.
you can bring your wife. I'm not sure I have enough room in my home to host children. But you know, we will always find a solution.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So tell us, what are you up to right now? What are you doing? What are the fancy things that you're working on? Because I know that you always work on fancy things, right?
I don't know if they're fancy, but it keeps me busy at least. But since the pandemic hit and all conventions pretty much went away, I've just been concentrating more on writing. I write every day. Uh,
Okay.
I I
What do you write
produce.
on?
I write a lot of stuff. I write, first of all, every week I produce the Friday Funnies, which all of your subscribers are welcome to receive for free by going to Dale Irvin, that's IRVIN.com. Every
Great.
Friday, what I do is I take a look at the news stories, the more bizarre news stories of the week, and with a satirical viewpoint. So you know,
That's
that's
great. That's great.
that keeps me
You can
busy.
do this for Europe and for France as well.
I could, I certainly could,
That
yeah.
would be great because then this would give you an opportunity to come and speak here. Because you know we would
There
love you here to at our conferences and conventions to speak.
The only problem I've had at foreign conferences is that, for instance, I did the German Speakers Association, and it
Yeah.
had to be through a translator. And so there was one guy up there who was speaking, and everybody in the audience was laughing. I'm thinking, this must be a real funny guy, including the translator. And I'm thinking, you're not helping me. I don't know what he's saying.
Oh my God. This must have been terrible. Yeah.
Uh, and
Yeah, in
then
Germany. Yeah, yeah.
And then I was speaking for the $1 Million Roundtable, big insurance convention here, and they have it simultaneously interpreted to about 12 different languages. They have a whole
Ooh.
row of booths in the back of the stage, and they're translating into Chinese and Japan and 12 different languages.
Oh my
And,
gosh. Do
and
the Chinese listen to that and laugh?
well, it takes them a while. It messes up your timing a little bit because it takes them a while. And at one meeting, I had a translator come up to me, says, "You'll make my job too hard. You'll make up your own words."
I remember that when I came, because I usually attended the conferences with my husband, and he would have really serious difficulties to understand what you were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I do understand you. I mean, I have a maybe a good enough level of English or American to understand what you say.
English and American
And
are
you know, my husband would say, "What did he say? What does it mean?"
and English and American are two different languages. And even within America, we've got like 3 different languages, you
Yeah,
know?
that's right. And you have also different accents. You know, they have
Exactly.
the Texan accents from I think Gina Robertson comes from around there, and she's
South
very
Carolina,
difficult.
yeah.
she's very difficult to understand, but I do understand her as well. I think I've been around all around the conventions in America, and I have made myself, you know, comfortable with all these accents.
Good, good. Yeah, so you're what they call somebody who speaks like three languages. They call them trilingual. When somebody speaks two languages, they call them bilingual. When somebody speaks only one language, they call them American.
Do you speak any other language?
I speak a smattering of German. That's about it.
A
I
little bit of
studied German
German,
in
yeah.
school, and if I were to go back and take another class, I'd be back up to speed. But
okay, okay. Well, Dale, tell our audience who was the little Dale. You know, I'm sure they will be thrilled to ask you who was the little Dale, the little boy. How was he?
I was pretty much my parents had three children, and then there was like a 10-year gap, and then they had me. You know, I was known as the night dad didn't want to go to the drugstore, and so by the time I was like 8 years old, I was an only child. My siblings had all moved out and gone other places.
Okay.
So it was I had a lot of attention. I studied a lot. I had very good grades, but I was very shy around girls until
You
I
being
did,
shy around girls? Oh, I
until
can't believe this.
until I discovered the secret. They like to laugh. So if you can make people laugh, it opens up a whole new world for you. You
That's
know,
right. Yeah.
are you familiar with Dave Barry, the
Yeah, and
columnist?
also Tim Guard. I mean, I love Tim. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been spending. Let me just show you something that reminds you some really nice memories. Look at
Okay.
that.
Oh, look at that, a crab. Very
Yeah,
nice.
that's Tim Guard's little crabby.
Oh, really? I didn't know
You
that
know, the
he had a
one
puppet.
the one from his story. He has crabs in little crab in his on one of his stories as a, you know, he uses lots of animals. You know, one of those animals I earned when I auctioned at the cigar peg. You know, and look
Wow,
how
very nice.
beautiful you crabby like this. You.
It's a good looking crab as far as crabs go, you know?
Yeah, he can bite you if you're not nice at him.
Okay, well, so can an ex-wife. But
So tell us, how do you become a professional summarizer?
I started out having a real job. I was in advertising for a while,
Okay.
and then I got what's the word, fired, and
Wow.
or sacked, whichever. And so I decided I'd been toying around with comedy, doing open mic nights and stuff, and I decided I'm going to give it a shot. And so I started booking comedy clubs all over the country, and
Okay.
then from there I found out that cruise ships paid a lot more than comedy clubs, so I started doing cruise ships all over. Saw a large part of the world doing that.
That's great. So you go on a nice, lovely cruise with lots of nice rooms and nice girls.
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful beautiful time. And so then when I was doing that, then I kind of found out more about speaking, which paid even more. And
Mm.
the difference between speaking and comedy clubs is they never hold a convention in a bad place. They'll stick a comedy club up in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, and you have to go there. But they're always held in nice places. They put you up in nice rooms, and they pay you well on time. So that's where I started. Now I started by doing after dinner speeches, much like Tim Guard that you mentioned,
Yeah.
humorous after dinner speeches. But I noticed there was a lot of competition there. There were a lot of people doing
Mm.
humorous after dinner speeches.
Mm.
I studied for a year and a half here in Chicago at Second City to learn the art of improvisation. And it taught me how to think real fast, to the point where I could write jokes faster than just about anybody else. So I decided to test myself and started writing them on the spot at a convention and delivered it. And I did it for an NSA convention, and a speakers bureau came up to me and said, "Do you do this often?" I said, "Actually, this was the first time." She goes, "Work on it. I can sell it." And so that's how it started.
That's great. I mean, and so you became hired to do professional
To
summarization
do just that.
at the business conferences.
Right, because it adds the needed levity and humor to a business conference.
That's
Second thing
right.
we found out is that people pay more attention to the serious parts so that they'll be able to get the jokes at the end. The third thing is that, it's in a lot of meetings, when they come to the end, people start walking out early. They don't do that if I'm closing the meeting, because they know that the
Ah,
fun
that's a good,
is
yeah,
still
that's a
coming.
good news to host Dale Irwin at the end of the conference. Then everyone will wait.
Everybody stays. And the other thing is that when they remember the serious points even better when they hear them brought back in a comedic fashion. So
That's right.
it does a, I don't have any tips for how you can be successful or rich or whatever, or a better salesperson, but I can make you laugh. So that's when why
That's great.
corporations
That's
and
great. I
associations bring me
don't
in.
know. I mean, in France, I don't know anyone being a professional summarizer with humor. I mean, this is something we don't have here. I
We
mean,
don't have
I
here. I
wish,
thought of the phrase, and
you know
it
what?
stuck.
You should get a special program online to have
On how to
people,
do that.
to have people learn from you, from how you do it.
I've been asked that before, and it's kind of hard to teach. I really wouldn't know how to teach it. It's a whole matter of thinking that you train yourself to do. I mean, as I'm watching television, I'm making jokes at what I just saw on TV. It's a whole way of thinking
Yeah.
that, many normal people are
It's
scared
a
of.
kind of switch here. Yeah, right.
Exactly, except I can't switch it off. And it's
Well,
like that all the time.
keep it on. It's much better when it's on.
But I thought about that, and I said, I don't really know how to train people, because then you've also, I tend to walk a very thin line between what's acceptable and what's not, always leaning towards the acceptability. But it's hard to teach people to stay on that line, because
I
all you got to
remember
do is,
your last speech at NSA in 2019.
oh yeah, yeah.
I do remember that. That was a very full of emotion speech.
It was pretty much my last program before that group, and I just wanted to tell them why and what I was feeling, and yeah, I can be serious if I have to. I've even given eulogies. They're funny eulogies, but
I think, I mean, they don't deserve you.
who nobody does really. Every morning, my wife says, "I don't deserve this." I said, "Well,
How many wives and children do you have?
I only have one of each. I've had one wife and one daughter, and she has presented me with one granddaughter. So it's a beautiful world."
Okay. And what does she do?
Who? My wife?
Well, your wife and your daughter?
My wife takes care of me. My daughter takes care of my granddaughter. So
Okay.
they're no longer in the employment field or employed field. They're in the important field.
Okay. Well, that's nice. She looks after her child and probably after her husband.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I'm waiting for. I just got a call, and I'm waiting for her and her daughter to show up here any minute. So that'll be fun.
Okay. And how old is your granddaughter?
2 years old. She just turned 2 years
Ooh,
old, just at the perfect age where they still believe you, and
make her laugh.
they're very easy to make laugh. She's one of my best audiences.
Yeah, sure. I mean, everyone is your best audience, Zaid.
And I wish everybody had your attitude, boy. I'd be working all over.
Well, I know it's very difficult to teach, but I still think you should provide a program to teach people how to make humor, how to actually organize jokes. I think you could do it, and it will be very successful. I mean, Tim Gard has been doing programs on that. I don't know if he has it online, but I think if someone did have those programs online, they would be really successful.
Well, it's almost the kind of thing that has to be taught one-on-one. I mean, the way that I learned it basically was I would read the news. I still do read the news diligently and look at all the news. And then I would write jokes about the news and see how many ideas that I had turned up on the late night talk shows. And a lot of times they were very, very close. So I knew I was doing something right.
Yeah. Well, that's probably the reason why we, as international folks, sometimes don't understand some of your jokes.
That's very true. Very true.
Because you're related to the American news. And that's a big thing. It's a big deal. I mean, if you had to work in Europe, you would need to adapt to each and everyone's news, which would be an enormous lot of work.
What I do is when I speak overseas, about a month or so beforehand, I'll start following all of their news stories and such, just to see if there's anything important that I can, make reference to or make light of. But yeah, that's research that you do beforehand.
Well, I've always considered you as a game changer, because when you use humor, you change the game, right?
Absolutely. I mean, humor really is the key to life, as far as I'm looking at it. When you look at all of the creatures in the world, human beings are the only ones with the ability to laugh. We were made that way for a reason, to enjoy life, to laugh at things. When you laugh at things that bother you, they don't bother you nearly that much anymore.
Can you give us, the audience who listen to us and who will listen to you and to our podcast, one trick about humor? How can you actually do? You read the news, I've understood that, but how can you just transform a sentence or whatsoever, something that you see, into real humor? How do you do this?
You have to look at it from a completely different point of view. It's thinking with the right half of your brain as opposed to the left half of your brain. The left half of your brain is all logic and knowledge, and the right half of the brain is more creativity. So when you see something, you got to ask yourself, what else could that mean? Or what else, does that mean? And you just start looking at things a different way. My goal is every day if I go out of the house, whoever I come up to meet, a clerk in a store, a service person at a restaurant, whatever, my goal is to make them laugh. That's my first goal. I got to make them laugh. And if I can't, I'll keep trying until I can. Same with people on the phone. I try and make them laugh. Even the ones that, call me to ask about my car warranty.
That's an open door to anything, right?
Exactly. If you can it's hard to hate somebody who's making you laugh. You like them, and it opens up a whole different thing for the world.
Even Trump.
Trump was that was a struggle, because as far as comedy was concerned, it's what we call low-hanging fruit, because everything he said or did was a point of ridicule. So I really, I left that pretty much to other people when he was in power, because it was just too prevalent. It was too easy almost.
It was too easy, I'm sure. I mean, each and every one, every time we watched him, on his discours, his talk on TV, we would find him ridicule. Really, we say the word ridicule in French, you see.
And what is that word?
Ridiculous.
Oh, ridiculous. Oh, okay. Okay.
Ridicule. It means ridiculous. You see, it's very easy. You know now a French word.
Yeah, there you go. And also I knew, because of our George Bush, who I believe one time said, the French don't even have a word for entrepreneur.
Yeah, what I like about you guys is that when you are an entrepreneur and when you have failed at least once, you're a superhero. And in France, when you fail as an entrepreneur, you are a dumb, a bummer. I mean,
really?
Yeah. Really? And that's what I like about America. I mean, this is why I miss you guys so much, because you see things from a different perspective. You see?
Exactly.
I mean,
it's not always the right perspective.
Everything is always much more optimistic. You see things in another direction, another way. This is what I really like. And especially about you, Dave. I mean, I always enjoy what you do at the cigar peg meetings, and well, what will you be up to? I mean, now that you don't speak at NSA anymore, you speak at conventions still?
When they come back, yeah, I will. I've done a few online, but I'm spending most of my time writing. I'm just constantly writing. A lot of stuff probably that'll never get published, but it's fun for me, so I keep doing that.
That's great. That's great. Did you
Right.
publish books?
I have 7 books published. Yes.
Woohoo.
All of them, funny. I'm working on one right now, which, I figure I've been doing this summary thing for a long time. I'd like to stretch it into the literary world and summarize maybe a book, perhaps the most famous book of all times. So I started to summarize the Bible. There's a lot. I mean, and none of it is meant disrespectfully or blasphemous. It's all taking the stories that are in the Bible and just looking at them a little bit differently, because they're,
that is something really weird.
It is really weird. For instance, when Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed, and Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt, Lot said to his sons, "Bring her along. We can use her on the mashed potatoes." So that didn't really happen, but that was my addition to that story.
I think if you would provide some online coaching for some people at our clubs, I mean, at our convention or at our meetings, we do have online meetings with the French Speakers Association, and also some of the folks would like to learn from you, like I would learn from you. I would love to learn from you if you would spend a couple of hours with me to transform some of my speeches, because I have always struggled with putting some humor in my speech, actually. And this is why I have so much respect for you, Dale, because this is just amazing what you do.
Well, you need to put humor in your speech just to keep people awake and on your side and listening, and it breaks up all of it. They'll absorb the serious matter that much better then.
Yeah, well, put something together, a couple of hours coaching on, people give you their speech online.
I do that.
And
I do write
for humor.
I already do that. I write for speakers. They will give me their speech either in a visual form or a written form, and I will write jokes for them. Yeah, I've been doing that for quite some time.
That's great. Well, would you do that for me?
Certainly. I want you to remember, though, I don't know how well I'll come across in France. I'm no Jerry Lewis. And
no, but my keynote is why do good negotiators get what they desire? So I would love my keynote to be much more humoristic. I would love to put much more humor in it.
Sure, I can do that for you.
That would be great. Yeah.
No problem. No problem.
That would be great. Anyway, I mean, I'm sure you can help lots of our folks here in France.
I would love to. I mean, I've been doing this for a lot of people, and but yeah, I can make any just about any speech funnier.
I'm sure you can.
I mean, unless the person delivering the line is not funny, then it won't go over.
I'm sure you're gonna lie. You're gonna laugh until you die. I mean, this is something sure.
That's how I plan on going out. Yeah. Okay. They said, "Oh, he died laughing. Good for him. Good for him."
Yeah, well, that's good. Okay, and so your next plan is to publish another book?
I guess, I'm working on a screenplay. I'm working on a book. I'm just working on a lot of projects that if they gel, that's great. If not, they keep me busy and they keep me creative and constantly thinking, because creatively, your mind is a muscle. And if you don't use it, it's going to atrophy on you.
That's
so
true.
If you're not creative every day, it eventually, if you are, that'll keep building and building. If you're not, eventually it'll ebb away. And so, I tend to find creative and funny things every day just to exercise that muscle.
Have you studied our president, Mr. Emmanuel Macron?
I really haven't, only because we don't get that much news over here. I've got to find a
Oh,
source, maybe like even the BBC doesn't give me that much French news, but yeah, I've got to find a better source. For at least the local newspapers are not good, so I'll have to do research online and find out more.
yeah. Well, he's one of our. I think he's the youngest president we've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is
and
he doing a good job?
he I'm not gonna answer this question online. And he's married with someone who's 20 years older than him.
Wow. Wow. Usually it's the other way around. So.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's how it goes.
Huh.
That's what it goes.
Well, it's France. He's probably got a couple girlfriends. So, what the heck. That's how it works in America when you're president.
For sure, the previous presidents we had a couple of girlfriends. and he wanted to hide them from us, but we finally...
Well, yeah, yeah. After a while, it all comes out in the wash, as they say.
Yeah. What type of jokes could you make about French?
I would have to study it, because I wouldn't want it to be, offensive, because, that would be easy, but I wouldn't want it to be offensive. Who do you guys like to pick on? And you pick on the Germans or the Spanish, or because the Brits pick on you.
I'm sure the Brits pick on us. Yeah, on the Brits, we could have something on the Brits. We could also have something on the Belgium.
Belgians, okay.
Yeah,
I like their waffles, but that's about it.
Yeah, that we have a joke, and we say, what will make the Belgium go and jump in a car if you put a French fry at the back? That's one of the jokes we have. That's good to know.
I got a million jokes that would fit into the Belgian category.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's the joke we have about. We have pretty many jokes about Belgium, actually, in France.
Oh, good. I'd love to hear them. I've never heard Belgian jokes before, so I'll have to examine that.
Yeah, well, anyway, anything that you would love to tell us?
I would like to leave your listeners and viewers with two things. First of all, if you really, really like to laugh, I fully invite you to visit my website, daleirvin.com. On the front page, there's a button you can press to sign up for the Friday Funnies, which are free. They come to you every Friday in your email, both in a written form and in a video, which I produce every week. That's one way to laugh. If you want another way to laugh, I also have a podcast. And my podcast is aimed at baby boomers, those people born between 1946 and 1964. And it's all about...
I'm still in.
It's all about issues that face baby boomers and what we go through in a different, changing world. And you can reach that at, this is all one word, anotherdayaboveground.com.
Anotherdayaboveground.com.
Or wherever you get your podcast, you can go to Another Day Above Ground.
Yeah. Well, Dale, it's been a pleasure. I'm thrilled to be, able to spend some time with you at this time of the day. It's the end of our day. It's the mid of your day today.
Yes, it is. It's almost time for lunch here. Yes.
Yeah, it's lunchtime, right?
Right.
And so
right.
I'm wishing you a great lunchtime.
I'm going to have frogs. I'm having
frogs.
Frogs.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Frogs and a little crabby. Well, anyway, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for being with us, Dale Irvin, and let people follow your website, follow your podcast, and get the chance to know you as a person, because you are a wonderful man.
Well, thank you very much, Christine. And they can drop me a line to dale@daleirvin.com. I'll answer all, but please write it in English, because my French is...
I know. I did write something in it. I did. You know what? You are in my list. And so sometimes we make mistakes and we send email to our list, even international, and they don't understand the word, of course. But it's a good way to remind us to them.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
But anyway, thank you very much, Dale, and it's been a pleasure. And I hope that our listeners will enjoy that podcast so much that they will listen to it and they will visit your website and your podcast as well. So
Thank you,
thank you.
Christine. It's been my pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, and goodbye to all.